Hey, how's it going, guys? So this is going to be my out-of-box review here for the Figure-rise Mechanics Haro, and it's really cool. As a lot of you guys pointed out in the unboxing video, that this is actually not the Haro from 0079 from the original Gundam series. This is actually the Haro from 0086. So this would be Camille's Haro, which is kind of interesting. But anyway, the construction is pretty simple. It was really fun to put together. It's very plain on the outside, of course, but that's just the design of Haro. On the inside, though, it's got a lot more detail, so it's really nice to open it up and just take a look at the inside, which we'll do, of course, in a moment. And then we have the LED unit that you can use with that. It's sold separately, of course, but I do have one on hand, so we'll test that out in the review. And overall, it was just a pretty fun, simple kit to put together. And so let's get into talking about what else you get included with this kit. But of course, as always, a huge thank you to SA Gundam Store for sponsoring the review of this little cutie. Check the link to their site there down below, and you can use that coupon code there, remember, ZakuAurelius 10 to save 10% on everything on their site. Now, the first thing that we get is we get some foil stickers here. We get a choice of either black or kind of metallic red for foil stickers for the eyes. Don't really know why you would really want to use those anyway, because we have that nice clear red in there. And if you wanted to make that clear red shine a little bit brighter, you could drop a little bit of like silver or titanium paint on the inside of that clear part, and then you could have them be a little bit more brighter. But if you want them to be really bright and not have to do any painting at all, you could use the red sticker there, I guess, if you want. But I guess there's another thing that you could count as an accessory too, is this little stand here. Just have this extra piece that he'll just sit on there, so he's not rolling around, because otherwise it will roll around. You do also have the option part of a different face part here. Now, as I mentioned in the unboxing video, the thing that's different about this is that on the inside, it's really extra thin here around there for the eyes. So when you do have the LED installed in the eyes, you can turn the eyes to their sort of like angry mode, and then you put this piece over the front of that, and then you can see them through there. So we'll try that out here in a minute. Then we also have a set of clear armor, so all the green parts for the outside, we have a set of that all in clear as well, which is really cool because you can actually see the inside detail, which is molded onto the inside of this, but obviously you're not going to be able to see it on here unless you take the part off. But with this, with the clear parts, you can see all the detail molded onto that, which is really nice. The problem is that I already broke one of these pieces here. So when I was working on this and I was cutting off the nubs, I dropped the piece, and like as it dropped, I reached my hand to grab for it, but my hand like landed on top of the part and just broke it like in my lap. So it wasn't exactly a judo chop, but I guess just the pressure of my hand landing on top of the part was enough to snap that. So be really careful with these clear parts. I think like these armor parts in general, the clear ones and the non-clear ones, they're really thin, but especially the clear ones I think are going to be extra brittle. So be really careful with them, not to break them, as this broke really easily. It just popped and it was just broke like that. So that's a shame. That would be the part here for like his underside of his face. So that's too bad. You do also have, of course, the clear parts. Again, like I said, for everything that's green on there, you have in clear as well. So for the covers. And then we have just a couple other parts here. These are for going inside the eyes, for holding the LED parts in place. But if you don't have the LED unit, you can actually store these parts up underneath the base, which is nice. So you just plug those into there and you can keep those for storage. So it's pretty cool. And before we take a look at any of that, let's just talk about the articulation of this kit. Now, of course, the arms and legs do pop out. You don't have to do any parts forming, so you just open that up and then pull out the leg like that, and there's some articulation built into that, so you can kind of move that around. There's some nice detail inside there. So you can see once that's like painted up and detailed up, that'll look really nice there for his kind of legs as they were, like that. And then for the arms as well, you open up these flaps up on top. You can see the hand is folded into there. So just open that out and rotate that around, and then you can pull this out of there gently, because I found it does pop off the ball joint, and if that the hand pops off the arm, if that ball joint comes off there, it's kind of hard to get it back on. So be careful, pull that out gently, and there you go. Then his arm is out as well, and then there is a little bit of articulation in this as well, but it's not really a lot. Basically, you can just move that around like that. So when he's all opened up, here is how that's going to look. And it's really cool. It looks really nice. It looks like accurate. It looks like a Haro there for sure. Now, unfortunately, I don't have a Haro Pla kit here. The Haro Pla kit that I did have, I used for my GBWC build, and I don't have another one to compare it to you, but the Haro Pla is definitely a lot smaller. It's kind of like the size of like this, which would be probably about half the size in general. So that is it for the articulation. The hands can rotate and everything. There's a seam on the hands. It's just two pieces sandwiched together, so there's a seam all around the edge of that, unfortunately. And then otherwise, I mean, just pretty lacking in detail on the outside. There's nothing really too much here, but that is accurate to the Haro's design. Now, if we wanted to change out the LED unit, so if we wanted to, or at least just let's take a look at all the inner detail here. So open up the face, and there's a mini Haro there, and there's actually a mini Haro inside that mini Haro. So let's get off some more of these armor parts and have a look around the frame. So really nice, and like the different tone of silver. So you have the dark tone, this medium tone, and this lighter tone for like the arm parts like that. 3 different tones of silver, all for that, look really nice. And then on the back as well, a lot of really nice detail here. It's all covered up by this giant just armor piece on the outside. Really cool looking there. So I think this is going to look really nice when we have the clear part put on there. And if you'll notice here on the front, this is an H, here's an A, here's an R, here like that, and on this side there is an O. So it actually spells Haro around on the frame of the kit, which is pretty interesting. So we open that up, and then you need to take off this front piece there on the eyes, and then under here is where there's this switch. So there's a little switch here that you can turn that will rotate the eyes. That's pretty cool. We need to take off this part as well, and then that will allow us to remove this part inside here. And this is like just like the dummy piece that you put in there in place of the LED unit if you're not having the LED unit in here. And if there's any doubt as to which version of Haro this is, here it is on this part. It says 0086 on this little part here. This is just nothing little thing like that. But I want to take this apart a little bit more so that I can show you guys the mini Haro inside of there. Alright, so after you've basically disassembled the whole front half of the kit, you can finally get to this mini Haro here, which is what I want to show you if we can pull this part out. Alright, not easy to pull that part apart, but there's actually 2 interesting things that I wanted to show you guys about this. So, number 1 is that tiny Haro inside of this mini Haro. That's funny. But then aside from that, there's another thing I wanted to point out is that this also has a clear red part, which is going to be kind of hard to see. There's a clear red part for the eyes for this, and it's such a tiny little bit of clear red plastic in there for the eyes. It's so negligible, I feel like, for this. Unless you want to be ambitious and actually put an LED unit into this mini Haro as well. Now, if you did that, if you put an LED unit up in here and you had these little red eyes also lighting up, that would be pretty dope. It's a little bit above my current skill level, so it's not something that I'm planning on doing. But I think that would look pretty cool inside of this kit if you added a couple LEDs into it. So once we get that a little bit more put back together, I'm going to put in the LED unit. Now again, this is just this LED unit here. This LED unit by itself costs about $20, which is just ridiculous, but this is Bandai's proprietary LED unit that you have to use for this. We have these little parts which will hold the LED units into his eyes, so we need to just string these into here first. These just simple enough, plug in right like that into the back of the eyes. And then here's the other shit part is that you have to turn this on and leave that on while plugging this in. While the kit is all put together, there's no way to access the on-off switch for this, which just sucks. So that means you have to turn it on and leave it on forever. And you have to take the whole front of the half of the kit apart in order to access that, to then turn it off again later. So you have to kind of wrap that wire around it like that. Slide this into there with the wires in the center is better. And then onto there like that. Now let's try out the angry eyes face. So I'm going to make those angry like that and show you guys what this looks like with the faceplate here, which I mentioned before has the thinner part for the eyes. So you guys can see how that's going to look. So as you can see, you can definitely see the light through that part, and it looks kind of okay if you want to have a angry Haro. But personally, I'm just going to stick with the regular faceplate for this. But first, here's how it's going to look with some of that clear armor on. Now, the clear armor does look really cool just because, like I said, it has nice details on the underside of the armor. Then, of course, you can see all the armor, all the details on the frame inside there as well, which I could say here. And then the other thing that is cool about this too is that it's UV reactive, as I pointed out in the unboxing video. So if you put in your own LEDs, that will be UV lights. That is going to look really cool in there to light up that clear green plastic. It looks really cool. It's just a shame that the parts for the feet don't really have any details in them, so those are going to be kind of plain. But still, it's cool, and it's cool. You can see the little mini Haro inside there as well. So really cool clear parts for this. That is kind of a staple of the Figure-rise Mechanics line, that they all tend to have these clear option parts for them, which is pretty cool. And to be honest, I actually really think it looks cool like this, having the opaque plastic parts there on the front, and then just keeping the clear part on the back, so that you can still use some clear parts and some non-clear parts, and just you can see all the nice detail there on the back. But on the front is still like your traditional Haro like that, so it's kind of a good way, I think, to maybe use both. So that might be something that I might look into for my initial build. Now let's take a look at a size comparison here. Here he is stood next to a typical size HG 144 scale kit, so you can see it's not like that big. It's about the size of a baseball, maybe, probably really comparable to the size of a baseball, I guess. So not that big, not that small, but a pretty good size, I think, for about a $20 kit. and all the inner frame detail and everything that you get with this and the option clear parts, I think it's really a pretty good bang for your buck. Now that said, it is just kind of a shame that the LED unit was sold separately and that it costs so much. I think the LED unit, if it cost $10 instead of $20 and was included with the kit, so this was maybe a $30 kit that included this LED unit with it, I think that would have been totally fine. I definitely would have been on board for that. But a $20 kit plus a $20 LED unit is just kind of, yeah, $40 for this with the LEDs is kind of a lot. You kind of have to really want the look of the LED. I think without the LED, it still looks like a really cool kit, and there's still plenty of kit there left to enjoy. And you know, if you have the skills and the means to wire up your own LEDs for it, you could definitely do it for a lot cheaper than that. So it's just something to look into as well. I'm sure those of you guys who are versed in that are already well aware of that fact. I don't have to point it out to you, but that is pretty much it for the review, guys. A cool kit as it is. I think it's just a shame that the LED unit is as expensive as it is. That's really kind of the only negative that I could say about the kit. Otherwise, I mean, it's exactly what you would expect. It's a nice little Haro with some nice detail and some cool gimmicks. So hopefully this review was helpful, interesting for you guys. If you have any other further questions or comments, of course, feel free to leave those down below. And thank you guys so much for watching. Thanks again to USA Gundam Store, and I'll see you guys next time. Bye bye. Hey, thanks for watching, guys. Remember, if you want to check the kit out for yourself, you can head over to USA Gundam Store. Use that coupon code ZakuAurelius10. Save yourself 10%. Thanks for watching, guys. See you next time. Bye bye.